Now as I'm feeling a little bit more recovered after our trip away, it's time to get back into action. That is very much what I wanted for this week, really getting back into the swing of things, whether it be for goals, work, life in general. And thus this week had a pretty decked out priorities list. In part, I feel like the length of this list is because I gave myself quite a bit of space on my weekly dashboard, which I'm not necessarily sad about because there's a lot of variety in these tasks in terms of what I can make progress on. And if I get them all done, it'll feel definitely like decent progress. Of course, we also have the routines that I'm keeping track of every day, with a slight change in that instead of trying to finish work by 5:30, I'm just trying to follow my work boundaries. They may change from day to day depending on what I'm doing, and I figured that as a habit to track would be a little bit more aligned with what I want for that goal, which is to have a more balanced work schedule. It doesn't necessarily need to adhere to a very rigid time structure. But to see how I got on, we're gonna have to jump back to Monday morning.
Good morning, happy Monday. In an attempt to really get back into the swing of things, it is about 7:15 and we are getting on the walking pad to do our walking. I still wonder whether morning exercise is exactly the way that I want to do things, but it has been working well for me previously and at least it gets it done. I do find if I try and leave it till later in the day, I'm more likely to just put it off and put it off and put it off. But if it's just like the default, first thing in the morning type thing, then it always gets done. I did also build that into my soft weekly schedule that I set up last week, so I'll probably just stick with it for the rest of this quarter, but at some point it might need some evaluation. Excited to get to walking though.
For breakfast this week, I'm having yogurt parfaits, despite not actually knowing what the technical definition of a parfait is. But the long story short is that it's yogurt with chia seeds, berries, and my homemade granola. It's quite good and I'm enjoying it so far. But one of the things that I noticed this morning is like the alarm went off and I instantly was filled with ugh. Like, no, don't ever get up. I don't want to do it. But notably, I did get up, put on my laundry, got on the walking pad, did the walk, got my 30 minutes in, which is pretty sweet. And now I'm like, yeah, come on, let's tackle the week. And thus it is just another reminder to myself that your feelings don't matter and you should just do things anyway. It's not quite like that. But oftentimes not feeling like I want to do something is quickly turned around by just doing something. That whole idea of action breeds action and inactivity breeds inactivity. So in terms of taking action today, I need to finish my breakfast, write myself a checklist for the day because I don't even know what I'm supposed to be taking action on. Like I could guess, but I'm going to be much more effective if I have a checklist. And then once I'm ready for the day, actually get to work. For now, I'm going to watch YouTube and finish my breakfast.
Feeling fresh, feeling clean, feeling ready to start the day, and we will be starting, of course, with the Epic Goals Work Along. If you wanted to join the Epic Goals Club and get in on these work along sessions where we just take action on our goals, then there's a link in the description box, or you can scan the QR code on screen. But it usually goes for anywhere from 1 to 4 hours, depending on how long we want to work. And as per typical, I shall be doing editing of last week's vlog. I'm thinking it won't take me as long as last week's vlog though, because last week's vlog was 2 weeks in one. Before that happens though, as said, I do want to write my task list for the day and fill in my priorities over here. The list is officially written, which means it's time to do some editing.
Thankfully for footage this time around, we only have 2 hours and 22 minutes, so really not that bad. I'm going to take a personal bet and say that I can get this done in 4 hours. It's currently 9:28, so let's go. Very close to done, but it is currently 1:03.
So I'm trying to keep my work boundaries. Lunchtime. For lunches this week, I'm having my bruschetta, which for me is effectively just diced tomato, red onion, and basil on toast, with some salt and pepper. And I definitely needed to add more salt today, but it was still very tasty, and I had one of my little fruit packs on the side. I need to make sure that I defrost a fruit pack for tomorrow, because if I don't, it will be a fruit popsicle and might be a little tricky to eat. But for now, I want to go back upstairs, finish editing the vlog, and then figure out what I need to do next. That one's been uploaded now, and I think that one of the most important things that I can do for myself in this moment is have a look at my work-related goals and see what actions I can pull out for those this week. Because what I am trying to do is not work on work-related goals outside of work time
But if I don't have those kind of action steps top of mind, I will just fill my work time with other work, which means that I don't really end up making progress on the things that are gonna help me in the long run. In theory, I would be putting those action steps in the priorities list, but what I'm actually gonna do is put them down here at the bottom of my work output section, because then at least all my work stuff is together. I feel like that kind of makes sense. So I'm gonna give myself about 15 minutes to do that. Otherwise, I will just let this turn into a giant time sink and waste away my potential work time. Okay, we officially have a plan now. So the work priorities list is decked out, looking good. The weekly priorities list is decked out, looking good. And now it's time to do some work. I think I am going to start with something super easy, which is just making my B-roll folder structure, because one of the things that I want to do to help me streamline my work is have my B-roll very nicely sorted, thus more accessible. Thus, when I go to make videos that have a lot of B-roll, ones where it's like, you know, mainly a talking head of me talking through a concept or whatever, and I want to use clips from my previous like filmed vlogs or whatever, it's a lot easier to find them if they are sorted into themed folders, as opposed to me looking through week after week after week of footage. Because while my memory is okay, it's just like not that great. So if I want to remember like which week it was where I have that very specific clip of me tidying my bathroom or decluttering something or preparing a certain meal or something like that, it just makes more sense to have that footage already organized into a folder called cleaning or decluttering or food prep or something. But the easiest first step of that, the one that I'm not going to rebel against doing, is just making the folder structure. If we make the next action we have to take for our goals too big or too daunting, we'll just put it off. We won't do it, and then we won't make the progress that we want to, and thus won't get to where we want to go. So if you find yourself kind of stalling out on a goal, you just feel like, oh, I could work on that, but like, oh, it's too hard, or it's too tricky, or I'm too unsure. The thing that I like to do for myself is like, what is the next smallest actionable thing I could do? And then I'll do that.
I now have my folders in there that I just set up, but some of these are old and I need to get rid of them.
And then I need to go through and actually prep all of the footage to go in here. And I think as part of prepping footage, I should really be removing the sound from most of them, because if it's B-roll, it goes over the top of A-roll, talking head, which means that I probably don't want sound attached to it, and it just saves future me from having to remove the sound every single time I use the clip. So I'm gonna organize the footage that's already in there, and then I'm gonna go and start going through each of the weekly vlog footage kind of folders and removing the audio from those, getting rid of the clips I don't need, and exporting the ones that then are audio free. I know this project is going to take me a really long time, but it's going to be so worth it. So I just need to actually get started and do it. So I went through and tidied up the folders. So this is what we now have. And I started editing one of the weeks of footage, which involves taking all of the audio out, going through all of the clips and deciding whether I want to keep them. Like, is it actually going to be helpful for future me? Anything in pink is something I've decided, yep, that's going to stay. Anything in green is something that needs to be looked over. Anything I didn't want has been removed. And currently we have about 6 hours and 26 minutes of footage. But I started at over 10 hours, so progress is being made. What's not going to be so much fun is renaming all of the files, but that's not what I'm doing right now. I'm just going through, pruning out the ones I don't need. And of course, this is just for 1 week. I have many weeks. 13 times 2 plus 4, 30. I have about 30 weeks to go through. Shouldn't have done that math, should not have done that math. It's just gone 5:30, so I'm wrapping up my work for the day. I have changed my routine tracker, so it's not a check in the box if I finish exactly at or before 5:30, but more so I hold my work boundaries for the day. So it's less about the very specific time and more about the idea of having my evenings off, or not working in my evenings. Now, will there be a time frame associated with that? Yeah, if I'm working after dinner, then I've probably broken that routine for myself. I'm not really holding it. But I think that having the very strict time for it, or that deadline, wasn't really working so well for me. I don't think it necessarily builds in that mindfulness around making sure I am holding myself to working during work hours or working during periods where I would like to be working versus the periods I would like to not be working. But even though I haven't necessarily decked out the B-roll folder or anything at this stage, even just having the folder structure and being on my way with going through the clips and pulling out the ones that I actually think would be good B-roll for future Jess to have. It's still progress, it's small progress, and I am pleased with it. And I'm doing it in such a way that it's going to be very easy for me to pick it up in future with the color coding, because otherwise I'd come back to a fully green timeline and be like, cool, no idea where I left this off. So I'd effectively feel like I'd have to start again. I do not want that to happen. I don't want to be redoing work that I've already done.
For now though, I'm gonna write myself a task list of what I need to get done tomorrow so that I can hit the ground running, and schedule out my work blocks on my calendar so I know what I'm gonna be doing with my time, and then move on to something else. The something else I've decided to move on to is go downstairs momentarily and just see if Vogel needs any help with dinner, but I have a sneaking suspicion he'll probably just tell me to go away. Hey Vogel,
Hello.
do you need any help with dinner?
Nah.
Oh,
I got
okay.
this.
Bye.
Bye.
As expected. That's okay, because while he does that, I can put away my laundry and actually get it put away on the day it was washed. Which is especially helpful because all of my clothes are funnily enough the same color, and trying to find them in the bucket throughout the week is just not really the easiest. All done and dinner is ready! Yay! Tonight for tea we're having sweet and sour pork with hopefully enough leftovers for tomorrow as well. And then for the evening, Vogel and his boys do a kind of gaming hangout thing every Monday. So I am on solo leisure time. For solo leisure today, I think I'm going to do some reading journal work and listen to an audiobook. In particular, the audiobook for our book club book, which is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which we're having a meeting about on Sunday, and I'm not finished, so good opportunity to get that one a little bit more progressed. Before I do that though, I'm going to put on this YouTube video on my phone and walk up and down the hallway until I get a little closer to 8,000 steps. Listening to an audiobook while trying to write the little blurbs for my reading or watching reviews is a little bit tricky, so I haven't made quite as much progress as I would have liked to, but I have had a good evening, and I have at least collated the pictures I need to print off for my journal. So I'm going to print those now and then probably think about heading to bed. It's currently 9:30. I have about some 100 steps to get before I hit 8k, and I think I can do that before I go to sleep. Well, I can confirm I got my 8,000 steps, I have finished my second liter of water, and I am in bed before 10 o'clock. Though technically now it is 20 past 10 and I've been reading some more book. The story is picking up and I am actually quite enjoying it. I was kind of worried that I wasn't really going to, but we've got about 100 pages left. I'm curious to see where we get to because I know that this is part of a series. And before I started reading today, I was kind of skeptical as to whether I was going to continue. We'll have to wait and see. For now though, I have gotten to the end of a chapter, so I'm feeling like I can probably switch the lights off and go to sleep, and I definitely think that would be a good idea. Because oftentimes if I start to push past my sleepiness and that kind of like, you know, just one more chapter kind of mindset, I get to a point where I loop back around, I'm like no longer sleepy again, so then when I try and go to sleep, I'm not sleepy anymore and the sleep evades me. I don't want that. I'm sleepy now. So I'll sleep now. Good night. Good morning. Happy Tuesday and happy summer from Wellington. Because yep, this is what a Wellington summer looks like sometimes. On the cards today, get on the walking pad, do your walk, have some brekkie, get ready for the day, just like every day, and then do some work. I think mostly it's going to be video planning today from the plan that I made yesterday. And also what I'm aiming to do is that every week, the kind of second half of the day or like any period after lunch on a Tuesday is professional goal work time. So any goals that I have that are related to my work, I do work on them then. Notably, I did get started a little early by starting yesterday because the vlog didn't take me as long to edit. Yay. But I think that by having a dedicated chunk of time on my calendar that it's kind of protected as, no, you work on your goals that are related to work now, means that they're more likely to happen. Otherwise, I just let other work tasks get in the way, like regular admin or regular video content making, all of that kind of stuff. It feels good knowing that I do have that dedicated time so that I will actually make progress on the things that I've been just like not starting, especially because I know I'm the kind of person who often will hold off on starting something unless I feel like I can make a genuine like good chunk of progress. So those little pockets of time are like, oh, I can't really do anything, like it's not worth starting. But all of those little pockets of time add up, so I should have been using them. It's fine. We're not gonna should all over ourselves. We're gonna fill our water bottle and get on the walking pad. I'm feeling very positive after my walk and breakfast. Breakfast was actually damn delicious, which for like yogurt, berries, and granola doesn't sound like the most fancy meal, but sometimes you don't need something fancy, you just need something tasty. Like, you know when you get that craving for buttered toast, and then you have the buttered toast, and it's the most glorious thing in the world? Or maybe your thing isn't buttered toast. Sometimes my thing is just a tall glass of cold orange juice. Oh, so good. I'd actually be very curious to know, what is your simple food that just like hits the spot 9 out of 10 times?
Getting ready for the day happened though, and then I got straight to work. My main work tasks for this morning were really just to do some content planning, so going through and scaffolding out the talking points for a variety of videos, typing up things that I wanted to cover in upcoming live streams and such, and also going through the next Planner Pals podcast episode to make sure I was happy with it before I upload it. That one is exporting now, notably haven't gotten it uploaded, still need to make a thumbnail and do all of that kind of stuff. But it is time to hold the work boundary of actually having a dedicated lunch break. It feels really strange to be coming back to this work week with seemingly less to do. I mean, there's still plenty of stuff to do, but because all the way from like the start of November up until when we left for our trip, it was just like hustle mode. Gotta get content made, gotta make videos and such for Vlogmas and preparing for the trip and all of that kind of thing. I think subconsciously my mind was just like, oh, you're gonna go back to that same level of kind of output. Like that's how much you need to be doing as soon as you get back to work, and that's not actually the case. So it does definitely have me thinking about how I could prepare better for Vlogmas this year. That is notably not a right now task, but it would probably be good to get started even further in advance when it comes to making the videos, because although I planned the content calendar in advance, I didn't really get started with making the content until the November kind of period. As I said though, not a right now task. Right now the task is lunch. I decided to go with just one piece of toast today and put some cream cheese and balsamic glaze on it, which was so delicious. But now it is time to get back to work for one of my official goal work blocks for work. My work goal work block. Yeah. And for that, the two tasks I've given myself are to organize the B-roll folders for the first of the weeks and the second of the weeks, which is actually Q3 of last year, week 2 and 3, because I deleted all of week 1's footage without really thinking it through. It's all good though, I have plenty of footage to go through. As per yesterday, I'm just going through the footage, color coding it if I want to keep it, and then deleting it if I don't want it. So all of these little clips in green are ones that I still need to look through. And then once I've decided which ones to keep, I'm probably going to rename them in here, because if I export them and then try and rename them, I'm going to need to go into every single video file and watch it, but I'm in a video editing software, so I might as well just watch it when it's in here. I think that process will be faster, even though it's gonna still feel pretty tedious. I went through and we have about 3 hours of footage that I'm gonna be keeping. I'm not sure how many clips it actually is. I don't really want to count them. But now I just have to rename them and then put them into the appropriate folders. I do at least appreciate that this is a task that I can do while I listen to an audiobook or watch a video or something like that, so that it isn't completely mind-numbing. At least it can have some entertainment as well. But yes. So far I have renamed up to the red marker, and I still have the last little bit of the tail to go, but I also have an appointment, so I'm going to export the rest of them while I'm out and just finish off those ones when I get back. That appointment was literally just to get my hairs ripped out of my face, because last time I tried to do it myself, she was looking some kind of way. I ended up ripping off my skin as well as the hair, which was certainly a look, and not really one that I want to repeat, so I'd rather just get a professional to do it. But for now, back home to do more of the B-roll organization. So I finished renaming the clips, and you can see that then it just has clip 1 is called this, clip 2 is called that, and it just makes it so much easier. Or at least I think it's going to make it easier. Oh, I missed one. Let's go find out what number 22 was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see you, hard-boiled eggs. And it says, rename the clip so that you can find it on the timeline, or in your B-roll folder. So now as I have my folder full of clips, I just need to take those clips and organize them into the actual B-roll folder. I think I might put them into the general folders first and then further organize the folders down. That might be the easiest way to go. Plus I feel like looking at all of the clips of a certain type together can help me further break them down into smaller subfolders with a little bit more clarity as to what I actually have in there. Or at least that's the theory I'm going with. Officially, we can check off that we have done week 2. I was really relying on the footage there to not be blurry so I could see where the check mark went. It's all good. It didn't do too bad. Brainstorming folder needs and setting up the folder structure though, I have done those as well, and I will refine it as I go. And also evaluate the B-roll needs. So essentially trying to think of any clips that I could film ahead of time to help future me out. But I need to identify what kind of gaps in my B-roll are first. On to the next week though. Well, I have gone through and pruned all of the ones that I don't want from the second week of footage. Now I just have to rename all of them. But it's almost 5:50, so I'm not going to do that today. But given I didn't make all that much progress on the B-roll folder organization, I wanted to make progress on something, so I booked in our tour of Scotland for when we go to the UK. Ugh.
I'm so excited. I did not think that that was on the cards for this year, or like many years, but when your friend's getting married, you gotta do what you gotta do. So that is one more thing to check off the priorities list for the week. For this evening though, Vogel and I are gonna be watching Critical Role because we don't have their subscription or anything, we just wait until it releases to the common folk like us. So it's kind of like a Tuesday ritual for us now. But that means I need to snuff out my candle, which I have actually been using my candles, which is nice because for quite a while I was of the opinion of like candles are pointless. Like why would you bother? But it definitely sets the tone, gives the room a nice vibe, nice cozy feeling, and I'm loving that. Also need to collect my supplies though, because while we're watching I usually do something and then head downstairs to hang out with Vogel. While we were watching Critical Role though, I ended up jumping on the walking pad so that I could hit my 8,000 steps, which I did successfully get. I also successfully finished my 2nd liter of water, and then while we were watching I got started on another goal action step, which was actually a work related goal action, which was to write up a draft of the role outline for the administrative assistant kind of role, which I'm now currently calling my operations assistant. I still don't know if I love that term. I'll settle on one eventually, but it feels good to have that one drafted. I do think though technically that means I can't really say that I held my work boundary because I've done enough work this evening, even if it was goal work, but it was for work. But too much work this evening to really be able to say that I had a work-free evening. But I'm still feeling good about the progress, so like at least it's a half win. For now though, Vogel and I are gonna go upstairs and watch some more of that episode and then go to sleep, which I don't know how much more we're gonna be watching because I am kind of tired now, but good night. Good morning, happy Wednesday. I am lagging on getting out of bed and I know that that is because I went to sleep too late because we watched too much Critical Role. Will she learn from this? We'll have to wait and see. On the cards for today though, we have filming, editing, a little podcast meeting, and the Midweek Mafia hangout, which I'm quite excited for because it's always a good time to see friends. But in order to get on with any of that, I do have to get out of bed. The worst. Not that I'm not looking forward to exercise, I'm just not looking forward to getting out of bed. Walking done, breakfast done, and I've very much been enjoying my little yogurt puddles. I need to make sure that I make more today because I don't have any more for the rest of the week. And while it's not really a problem, like I could make a yogurt puddle tomorrow, I like the chia seeds to have the opportunity to absorb some of the moisture from the yogurt, and that's easier to do if you let it sit there overnight. For now though, this isn't gonna quite work for the filming that I have planned today, so shower time, and then we're getting straight to filming. Much like every time I go away for a period of time, I don't want to film. I know it'd be fine once I get started, I just have to actually get started. Did it. Filmed the first video of the day, and now I'm kind of like softly editing it. I was in theory going to be filming another one, but I didn't plan that one yesterday. I planned other videos, forgetting that I needed to film that video today. So we'll see what happens. I mean, like, it is only 10:53, so it's not like I don't have time to plan that video and then possibly film it. I might prioritize that because I dried my hair today. I ended up prioritizing the editing of that video because I was just already in the mindset of getting it done. And sometimes it's just easier to stick with the task you're already working on rather than change to like similar type of work but different project. Like if both videos that I had wanted to film today were already scripted, then yes, filming one and then filming the other would make sense. But because one of them wasn't scripted, I would have to pause filming and editing to then go script to come back to filming and editing. But I'm like, I'm already here and I just filmed this video, so I know which parts need to be edited and which ways and yada yada. And I think it just kind of highlights that fact of like, there is no one size fits all approach to a lot of the things that we do. Because yeah, some days filming all of this stuff at once makes a lot of sense. Some days, filming and then editing and then filming and then editing makes more sense. As long as I'm getting my stuff done, that's really all that matters. But that video is exported now and it's pretty much time for lunch. Mark and I also just had a meeting about the podcast and scheduling some topics to come up in the next few episodes, and also start organizing interviews for the podcast, because that was something that we were going to try and do last year and never really got it started. But we have messaged 2 people and heard back from both of them about being guests on the podcast, so that's really exciting, and also instantly highlighted the fact that I do not have a process set up for that, and now I'm kind of in like a oh my gosh, we need to like do that right now kind of mode. But what I actually need to do is go and have lunch. I'm sure I can find some time later today to organize a more streamlined process for asking people if they want to be guests and then getting the information needed and giving them the information they need and all of that kind of thing. Because right now it's just an Instagram chat, which is like super professional.
had my lunch, which was absolutely delicious, and then made my yogurt puddles for the next 4 days, so I'm feeling prepped in that way, and then got instantly distracted scrolling through Instagram reels. So now it's 2:43 and I've got the video done, it's uploaded, that's sweet, but I need to do something else. And I think in particular, to ease myself back into work, I'm gonna do an easy task, easy-ish, which is making the thumbnail for the podcast and getting that uploaded, because getting that done will feel like an accomplishment. It's not necessarily easy, but at least it's straightforward for me. And I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm not gonna get onto filming that other video today, so I'm gonna open up the curtains and let some light in here so that I don't feel like I'm living in a little gremlin hole. I mean, I do technically have a light on, it's just not the sun. Yeah. I ended up working myself up to the point of being able to film another video, so I'm feeling positive about that. It is just the A-roll. I'm gonna have to go put the B-roll over it tomorrow or something like that, which will be so much easier once I finish my B-roll folder organization, but I haven't finished that just yet. For now though, we have about a half an hour, 40-ish minutes until I need to think about leaving for the Midweek Mafia hangout. And in terms of projects for that one, because I typically like to think of a couple projects to work on when I go so that I don't take like everything in my office with me, just the select items that are going to help me with my projects. One goal action that I think would be good to do, or I mean one goal to start kind of actively pursuing, is the idea of developing a skincare routine. Because currently I don't really have a set routine, I just go with the flow kind of thing, and it would be really nice to have a skincare routine that was a little bit more like evidence-based, one that is suitable for my skin type or something like that. Would also be good to figure out what skin type I have. But the first step for that kind of goal is just research. So figuring out what are those habits and routines that make for a good skincare routine. What are the kind of things that I could include in my routines that are going to be beneficial for me? Obviously, one of them is drinking water. Tink. This is my second bottle for the day and I have made only limited progress, so I need to drink up. But I think it would be good to get to the end of the quarter being a little bit more established in the routines that I have for myself, whether they be, you know, weekly, daily, cyclic or whatnot, related to taking better care of my skin. The skin irritations that I was having on my fingers seem to be going down, not as quickly as I would like. But yes, research will be one of those tasks. And I'm thinking that also it would be good to do a little bit more work in my reading journal. I started writing in my blurbs for some pieces of media on Monday, but I haven't gotten all that far. I have these 3, but then I've also got those 3. Haven't finished this book, haven't finished this game. Actually, where's the cover for that? I think it's in the back. It's all good. I'm fine. This cutie little sticker here is from Monica though, and that's because I'm using that book for the Year of Goober Challenge. If you wanted to know more about the Year of Goober Challenge, it is a year-long reading challenge. It's a lot of fun. That one's linked in the description box below. It's over on the Goobers Who Read YouTube channel, which is, funnily enough, also my YouTube channel, but yeah. On today's Midweek Mafia escapades, we are taking the tripod, the water bottle, the pencil case, the reading journal, the regular journal, my slap top which now has fingerprints on it, which is kind of unfortunate, and my tiny bag. This is the one that I put the little patches on in Korea, and I'm now using it to hold all of my cables and other bits and pieces for the slap top. I also feel like I really should have updated this before the cycle started so that then I had all of the weights that I could possibly lose on here, because I was in this kind of region and then Christmas happened and we got up to more like this kind of region. But it's okay. Eventually I will be able to update progress on here, just not quite yet. Most enjoyable time over at Rachel's place. We just hung out. I did my research for my skincare routines and I'm significantly more confused than I was before. Okay, not quite. I feel like I know some things, but there's a lot of not necessarily conflicting information, there's just a lot of information. So it's gonna probably take a couple more sessions of research to figure out what I'm doing.
Yes, I am doing laps in the kitchen because I haven't met my step count for the day, but this bag is also heavy, so I'll probably stop soon and probably won't quite get to 8,000 steps. One thing I will say though is that the cookie pie that we had at Rachel's place was very tasty. We did not eat the whole thing, but we did get to sample the different types of cookie in the cookie pie, and I'm pretty sure I've given myself a sugar headache from the amount of cookie that we ended up eating. Even though we ended up eating it before dinner, I'm now getting a headache from it. But I did get my 2 liters of water for the day, so at least there's that. I think I'm ready to admit defeat on the steps though. I'm only at 7,055. And I'd rather just go to bed because it's 10:15. Feeling positive about how the day went though, and looking forward to tomorrow, so good night. Good morning, happy Thursday. I am excited for today, mainly in the sense that we've got date night and we're going to Wildfire and I'm very looking forward to food. But before that happens, we have many things to do, like exercise, keeping the streak alive. I'm almost at 250 days. I think I'll be at 250 days in a row tomorrow. I'll have to fill in my tracker, which I should be doing on a more regular basis. But hey, you know, when you do it every day, filling in the tracker isn't so hard because you don't have to really rack your brain to think like, which days did I do it? Which days didn't I? You did it all the days because we're keeping the streak alive. Outside of exercising though, I do also have other stuff to do, like work. We're going to be recording a podcast. I've got a live stream, which means I really do need to get on to exercising soon, so I'm not late for that. This week's live stream is just for the team with a capital T. We're going to be decluttering my pens, or at least attempting to, because I feel like this is going to be the category that is the hardest for me to declutter. First though, time for a walk. The walk is done, I'm feeling sufficiently sweaty, but most excitingly, we got a little package.
Congrats, Jess and Bon.
It's a little ghosty necklace. It's so cute. Look at this little chookity. Thank you, Tina. It's the absolute sweetest. Yep, definitely running late. Should not have stayed in bed as long as I did watching reels. Made it to the live stream only like 1 minute overtime, which I still don't feel great about, but it's all good. We had an almost 2 hour, 40-ish minute stream where we were going through and just decluttering my pens. It's essentially like a work along stream. So everybody picks something they want to work on, whether that be, I don't know, like a household task or a journaling thing, or honestly just chilling, and we just hang out together on the stream for a while. Notably, the while was 2 hours and 40 minutes this time because I was decluttering all of my pens. And we did a tally up. I am getting rid of 586 pens from my collection because they're just pens that I don't need anymore. Like, they're all pens that still work. They're perfectly fine. They're just gonna go to someone else who is actually going to use them. Or someone's else, because there are a few different sets. I was just gonna keep them in a big jumbled mess, but now I've gone and separated them out into their different families of pen type because I feel like it'll be easier to declutter them if people can look through just like a particular pen set or whatnot. Actually finding a home for these is not a today job though. It is now 1:44, and because I hadn't done my pre-planning for the podcast episode we're recording today, I got into that. It took me a decent chunk longer than I thought it was going to. So now my floor is still a mess, I haven't eaten any lunch, and we're supposed to record the podcast in 15 minutes. Yeah, didn't really have enough time before recording to have a full lunch, so I'm just having one of my little fruit packs with my stewed stone fruits. Yummy! It doesn't look particularly appealing, but it is actually very tasty. The podcast episode is filmed though, so I'm feeling very positive about that, and I've made a thumbnail for it. And that podcast isn't going up until like the 18th of February. Feeling very ahead, yay! Feeling even more accomplished, I have sound balanced those, I have made the split screen, it's going up into the editing folder, positive things. Also, something exciting to report, given one of my goals for this quarter was to find somebody to be what I was calling an administrative assistant. Still don't love the term, still need to workshop that, but I have found somebody, and in fact it's somebody I've actually already worked with, which made it even easier. So the person who had previously been doing some editing work for both the podcast and for my channel is going to be taking on some of those admin responsibilities as well, which means this week, notably, I went through and I made that description for the role so that we had clarity around what they were going to be responsible for versus not. I've been thinking about tasks in particular that I can let go of. This is the hardest thing, is me letting go, because I know that there are plenty of things that I do that don't
have to be me. Like somebody else in theory could do them. It's just letting somebody else do them. I know one of the activities that people have said can be very helpful for figuring out what you can give from your workload to somebody else is just writing down every single thing that you do and really considering like, could somebody else do this? Can I give this to somebody else? I haven't actually done that activity yet, but I think that it would be a good one to do soon. I feel like I need to set up a new log somewhere. I think the most appropriate place for that would probably be Notion, but I feel like that's also going to be a procrastination task for right now. For right now, I feel like I haven't touched my daily log today because by the time I got to my computer, it was stream time. So planning first and then maybe that.
It has only just gone 5 o'clock and I have only just finished my first bottle of water for the day. A little worried that I might not get to 2 liters, but I'm going to try.
But I think the hard part is knowing what to write down in terms of like the level of specificity. So it's like, okay, yes, I made a thumbnail, but making a thumbnail includes sourcing the picture. So getting Mark's picture, because it was for the podcast, and taking my own one, and then bringing them together and trimming out the background of his and like blurring the background of mine and yada yada type thing. But the entire process is just like making a thumbnail and then exporting it, saving it, yada yada. So technically speaking, the making of a thumbnail is not so much a task as it is a project because there are multiple steps that I have to take. Not that I think that the thumbnail making is something I'm going to be getting help with, but I'm also trying to keep in mind of just because I can do it doesn't mean that I should do it. Like I should get somebody else to do it possibly so that then I can turn my attention to things that definitely have to be me. Like filming a video. It'd be kind of odd to offload that to somebody else, be like, hey, can you just like, I don't know, hold up a cutout of my face and like pretend to be me to film this video? That would be strange. One thing that I definitely need to do and was kind of hoping I would get some time for today, but was feeling kind of distractible, so maybe squandered a bit of time in the middle of the day there, was reading more of the book club book because our book club meeting is on Sunday and I'm not too sure when I'm going to get a chance to read more. Technically speaking, according to my new weekly schedule that I'm trying to implement, Friday is like a half work day, half goal work day. So I could use my goal work time to do reading. I don't love the idea of that either though, because it is supposed to be dedicated for working on my goals. Because that's the thing, if I supposedly have the ability to pick my own schedule, I should probably make the most of that to move myself forward in terms of goals and projects. So that means my main tasks for tomorrow are mainly to write a newsletter, respond to some emails, and that should take up like half a day. And then in terms of my tasks to do for my priorities for the week, there's still a decent chunk of stuff that needs to get done, both in terms of the priorities list over here and also the work related ones down here. For now though, given that it is almost 10 past 5, I really need to think about heading off because it's date night. We're going out for dinner. I'm very excited. Don't mind me just trying to chug my water before I go.
I also think that I'd like to replace one of these post-it notes because last year I was able to get down to in between these two values. So maybe if I replace that one with a different color, so it's like, hey, this is like officially the lowest you've been since, I don't know, like before 2016. I'm not gonna do that right now. Right now I need to go, but just something I'm thinking about. Date night dinner was so good and I'm so full. So full, but I still have to drink my water. That's fine, I can do that before bed. For now though, Vogel is just doing a couple of dishes and then we're just gonna chill out and probably play some more until dawn. So in the meantime, I'm gonna continue on my quest for figuring out what to do about this skincare routine thing. Come along, slap top, we're going downstairs. Well, a couple things happened this evening. Firstly, we played Until Dawn. We're up to chapter 9, which means I think we only have 2 more chapters in the game. It's going well. 2, I ordered some skincare products. Hopefully they arrive quickly and I can get started on actually building out my skincare routine. And 3, I booked to go on a reading retreat, which I'm kind of excited about, but also kind of nervous because it's with other people, but I don't know who the people are, and I'm going by myself. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, if I wasn't looking forward to it, I wouldn't have booked it. But right now it is 5 to 10. I haven't quite finished my water, but I'm not going to chug it because I would just feel sick and I don't want to feel sick going to bed. I didn't quite get to 8,000 steps today. I think I got to maybe almost 7,000. 6,700. Not ideal. So I think tomorrow I'm going to prioritize doing a longer walk in the morning or aiming to get a higher total before evening activities of just chilling out. But all in all, I think it was a pretty good day. It felt like a successful day. Got stuff done, got pens decluttered, had date night. Yeah. For now though, sleepy time. Good night. Good morning, happy Friday. Admittedly, when I woke up, I had at least a 20-second period where I was just like, what day is it? But yes, it is indeed Friday. There are indeed things to be done. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've added like 10 tasks to my task list mentally since waking up, and I haven't got anywhere to write it down, so the first port of call is to get up and write it down, because I will not remember it. In fact, as soon as I leave this room, I probably won't remember half of them, so I might just chant them to myself as I exit the room. Update the Discord server. Update the Discord server. Update the Discord server. Now as I've gotten to my desk to write things down though, I'm kind of just in the mood to work, so I think I'm gonna change my day plan around a little, and rather than exercising first, which in theory would have already been happening, I'm gonna go downstairs, get my breakfast, and then come back up here and just get started on working for the day. Because this is supposed to be a half day of work in theory, like a half day of work and then a half day of goal work. I don't feel too bad about rejigging things like this. I'm kind of just trying to follow where my energy wants to take me, and right now my energy is like work. Task 1 for the day is done, putting in the moderator call out for our Discord server, which of course as far as a task is kind of more like a very mini project, because it's like, okay, update the form, update the survey, write the post the post, yada yada, and then of course it will have further steps like reviewing anybody who puts forward their interest for that role or whatnot. But one down, more to go. Second port of call was going through and organizing all of the chat spaces in our Discord server for goobers who read. So now all of those have updated permissions and are hopefully doing what they're supposed to be doing. Which means now I can move on to the next thing, which is adding a new chat space, which is going to be kind of like a hobby spot. So places to discuss things that are kind of reading adjacent or reading adjacent hobbies. So things like how people keep track of their reads. That's something that keeps coming up, and it might be nice to have a dedicated spot to talk about it. One of the things I never love to do on Discord is send out an @everyone message, mainly because I just don't enjoy them, especially when they're not really necessary. But given the amount of structural changes I was making in the reading related Discord server, I'm like, yeah, okay, people need to know, because otherwise they're going to come back maybe after a little time off and be like, where are my chat spaces? What happened? But I have set up a new reading adjacent hobbies kind of space in there. So we have spaces to discuss reading journals, reading nooks, book tracking systems. We also have dedicated spots for social kind of things. So like, you know, social media things. So Bookstagram, Booktube, Goodreads, Storygraph, that. I think that is going to make organizing information in the server easier, and just easier for people to find what they want to see, as opposed to just like a more generalist swamp of stuff. But that is another task that I can check off my list. And I say task because it was definitely a project. It took me a hot minute. With that done though, now it's time to write a newsletter. And it has been a hot minute since I've written a newsletter, so I'm kind of expecting this might take a while, but I'm still feeling optimistic. I can get this done. We can do the thing. If you did want to be part of the newsletter team though, you wanted to receive the weekly tips from me, and yes, they will be weekly now, we're getting back into the swing of things, then there's a link in the description box, or you can scan the QR code on screen to join up over there. Yay, that one is scheduled and ready to send out, and it's not quite lunchtime, which means I still have some time in my half work day to get work done. Okay, we did get some more done. I added my B-roll to the OneDrive folder. I added extra information into my Notion. I added priority labels to the work calendar. I shared an editing link to the Google Calendar with my admin help person and typed up some details about that thing. Bleh, my head is a little bit of a puddle, but it is lunchtime now, and then it is my afternoon to work on goals. The idea of having a dedicated block of time on a Friday to do goal work, to like, you know, end the work week with, feels really nice. I say end the work week, but I do plan on doing more work on Sunday, so like, but still. What I'm thinking might end up happening with these goal work blocks that I have on a Friday is that if I don't have anything in particular that I have to do for my personal goals, I will either use the time for work related goals, or possibly for like professional development for work, because I have a lot of stuff that I'd like to learn as related to my job. but I don't ever give myself the dedicated time to really do it because I'm too busy in the grind of all of the other stuff that I do typically. So it might be nice to set some time aside for that, or just actually have some more leisure time, one of the two. But for right now, it is lunchtime. I am very hungry and thus very looking forward to having some food. Got my little tomato toast, have a little iced tea, some water, feeling good. Lunch is over, which means it's time to get on the walking pad and actually do my exercise for the day. I'm not really all that sad about doing it in the middle of the day, but I also feel like it's not interrupting my work day because I'm not planning on doing work this afternoon. What I do need to do though is finish the book club book, so I'm gonna try and walk with the audiobook going. I don't know if it's gonna work that well for me. If I get like 2 minutes into it and I'm like, yeah, okay, this isn't the vibe, I'll just put on a YouTube video and read the book later. But if I could do audiobooks on the walking pad, that'd be pretty sweet. Can confirm, walking on the walking pad and listening to an audiobook at the same time does work, or at least works with this narrator. This narrator speaks very slowly, so I've kind of been listening to it on 2.5 times speed. Normally I can at best listen to like 1.8, but yeah, this one, very slowly. The plot's heating up though. I'm enjoying the book, but right now I do need to go have a shower because the shower is done. It's time to check in with the goal plans for the week and see what we can accomplish before it's time to not do that anymore. You ever just start a sentence and you're just like, I don't actually know where this is going or where it's going to end up? Yeah, I have a lot of sentences like that. Most of them you do not get to see. They get clipped out entirely.
Or they just get re-recorded to oblivion until it actually sounds correct.
In terms of things that I could do this afternoon though, planning for my week 6 meals is probably a very good idea because we do grocery shopping on a Saturday. I technically have researched my good skincare habits, I just need to collate the findings. I'll do that in Notion. Having a day off is for tomorrow, and I have been scheduling my work blocks for the week as the week progresses, but scheduling work blocks for week 6 will happen on Sunday. And this one I have talked about with Vogel, so there's actually things to check off. There we go, that's looking a little bit better.
I'm thinking in terms of meal planning for breakfasts and lunches in particular, I might just keep doing what I've done this week because I've been very much enjoying them. So that's my yogurt berries and granola for breakfast, and then my tomato toast with cream cheese for lunch. I need to remind myself that like I don't have to reinvent the wheel every single week, and if something is working, we can just leave it. It does definitely help to simplify life as well. But that means the meal planning for week 6 is technically done. In terms of prepping breakfasts, I still need to make the yogurt puddles and acquire the berries, but I have enough granola or muesli to last next week, I'm pretty sure. And in terms of lunches, there's no real prep that needs to be done for those. But I did prep myself my little fruit snack pack kind of things, and I will have enough for the majority of next week, if not all of it. But it might be nice to still use my meal prep slot on Sunday this week to prep for like in advance effectively, because there will definitely get to a week where I won't feel like doing any meal prepping. I won't want to cut up fruits and make stewed fruits or whatever, but this week I could probably still do that. So I might just make some more stewed fruits on the weekend, because I really love having little snack packs of fruit. Like, I love cut up fruit. I will not cut my fruit up myself very often because I am lazy, and you can't really just cut up fruit in advance and still have it be nice, but cutting it up and baking it or stewing it, that still works. So I can write that down as a Sunday task to do for me, and also add some other tasks while I'm at it.
To lock in the meal plan, I've written down what I know so far. Still need to do dinners with Vogel, but like progress. So now we are on to collating skincare routine findings, which I'm just going to type up in Notion.
I'm really enjoying just having this one spot for all of my notes like this, you know, any research that I'm doing, anything like that, making it very searchable, and it doesn't need to be in separate Word documents, like, you know, Microsoft Word, which is what I previously would have done. I like it. I like the organization of information like this.
There we go. I have my notes written down, so it's like, okay, cool. Regular skincare habits, supporting habits, and then a morning routine and an evening routine, general kind of process.
And I figure that as I practice my routine and find products I like and such, I can come and add information to this space. I'm feeling pretty good about it though. I feel like I know a lot more now about skincare routines than I did at the start of the week. And that was kind of the point.
So we can check off that I have collated my skincare routine findings.
For now though, I'm going to endeavour to go downstairs and finish my book, because it would actually be nice to finish it in advance of just like the day before the meeting. Gives me some time to process my thoughts and feels.
I finished the book and now I just want to go on to book 2, which is interesting because at the start I was kind of like, yeah, this was a choice. But I actually ended up quite enjoying it. I think I'll probably give it like 4.5 stars or something. Mainly because that half star got lost because the start of the book I was just like, I don't know. I enjoy a romance. It was a good time. For dinner today, though, we are getting food out because cooking is lame and so are dishes. Dinner was pretty good, feeling pretty full now, but in terms of evening activities, I forgot that Vogel and I were doing our own solo stuff, so technically totally had time to read the book this evening. It's all good. I'm gonna play some Assassin's Creed. It has been a while though, so I don't necessarily know where I got up to in the story. I don't know if I'm that invested, but I am invested in finishing the main story, so at least that's something. I always find it difficult, like when you're playing a game and you go away for a while or you just put it down for a while, getting back into it is a struggle. Same with reading, same with TV, like same with any kind of media really. I assume that if you did a similar thing with a movie, it would be similar too. I don't typically stop watching a movie for myself to finish later unless it's like, yeah, this movie sucks and I'm not finishing it. At least I can remember the controls, which is not always the case. And now, a mere 25 minutes later, I am turning that off because it wasn't as fun as I'd hoped. I'm just not really feeling it. What I am feeling though is like going and finding the second book in the Emily Wilde series because I just want to continue the story. And that's the thing with my leisure time. I would like to be a bit more present and mindful during it so I can kind of do those check-ins with myself to be like, are you actually having fun? You know, is this filling your cup in the way you want it to, or are you just defaulting to something that's easy? Usually the thing that I default to that's easy is scrolling Instagram, but not today. Today we're gonna go do something else. It's just not gonna be gaming. Well, I'm very glad that I decided to change track and get to reading the second book in the series because I'm very much enjoying it. I'm about a third of the way through now. I've been captivated. The series has captivated me. For now though, I'm going to get ready for bed, do some skincare, brush my teeth, all the good stuff, and read a little bit more before I go to sleep. Tomorrow is a day off. I'll probably do some more reading at this stage because I'm just enjoying it so much, which really feels nice because before this book, I was in a bit of a reading slump. I just wasn't really feeling like reading. Picking a book up was not something I was overly tempted to do. But right now I'm like, yep, we are actually reading for the year, which it's nice that I managed to finish at least one book in January. And at this rate, maybe I'll finish two. I don't think I'll actually finish the second book by the end of tomorrow, but we'll see. Anywho, good night. Good morning. Happy Saturday. I decided to turn the alarm off today. Just let the body sleep in as long as it really wanted to. It slept in an extra hour, so I guess that counts for something. On the cards for today, though, we have a day off. That's what we have. I'm not really too sure how I'm going to use it. Probably do some more reading because I'm really enjoying my book. But we also have a summer barbecue type thing that our friends are hosting, so we're going to go along to that. Still need to figure out what our contribution for that is going to be, so I should probably go find Vogel and talk to him about it. But otherwise, it should be a pretty chill day. Got the regular stuff like exercise and all of that kind of thing, but looking forward to it. Decisions have been made. Vogel's gone to go get some groceries, huzzah, which means he will also be getting my berries for breakfast, which means I can't have breakfast, so best get to walking. Not that that wasn't always the plan, but I don't know how the walk is going to go in terms of length now because I'm not sure when he's coming back. But that's okay, because given the success of, you know, walking on the walking pad and listening to an audiobook yesterday, I'm going to continue with my current book, which I am very much enjoying. And I did actually get my 8,000 steps yesterday. It just required about 10 to 15 minutes of just walking back and forth in the hallway before I got into bed at the end of the day. So it'd be nice to get maybe a couple more steps or go for a little bit of a longer walk this morning to ensure we're actually hitting 8K. Well, by the end of the day, I don't need to hit 8K just during my walk. Well, I got in a half-hour walk and my book is still progressing excellently. It is now time for breakfast, having my yogurt pottle. I'm calling it a yogurt parfait. Again, she hasn't looked up what a parfait is, so she has no idea if that's either like redundant in terms of specifying yogurt or if a parfait is something completely different. It sounds good, it tastes good, I don't mind. But we're gonna take this cheeky boy upstairs and go and watch Sarah's live stream because that's one of the things that I like to do every Saturday, or at least every Saturday that it's on. My breakfast is gone, but it was so good. I think while I'm watching the stream, I'm just gonna kind of draw up my weekly for next week. I think that'd be a good use of time. I also feel like it would help to put my brain in order. It's feeling a little bit scattered right now in terms of things to do and when they need to be done. The live stream went well, very enjoyable. I have gotten my weekly for next week set up. I have finished my breakfast. I also went and populated our finance tracker, so that's looking up to date, which is good, which means that next week we can have a finance meeting, like a household finance meeting, which is essentially just like, what are we overspending in? What are we within budget on? What kind of big expenses do we have coming up that we need to be aware of? For now though, it is what, like past 12 o'clock, I'm pretty sure. Yep, 12:17. So time to think about having a shower and getting myself presentable for the day. The barbecue we're going to isn't until 3 o'clock, so it's not like I'm in any great hurry, but it would be nice to be feeling a little cleaner and fresher to enjoy my day off a bit more. Feeling clean, feeling fresh. Gonna go and write a grocery list with Vogel so he can go pick up the rest of the groceries tomorrow, and we can put in like a shopping order or whatever, and then maybe some more time for book. That'd be really exciting. Especially because all too often when I tell myself I'm gonna have a day off, I don't have a day off. I just end up working because I didn't have anything else planned. Technically today we do have the barbecue plans, but before that, we didn't really have anything planned. So to be filling it with reading feels good. Alas, everything else took too long. No more reading for me, not at least until we get back maybe. But the groceries have been ordered and we talked about UK stuff and other plans that we have coming up and whatnot. So I'm feeling a little bit more kind of like cool, calm and collected in that respect. Still need to actually properly get ready to go out though, so that's the next port of call. Because as fun as it would be to wear bleach-stained pants to my friend's house, I think it's supposed to be like a slightly nicer event than that, but only a little bit. You know when you have a social obligation that you committed to a while ago, and then the time comes to go and you're just like, I don't wanna. I know it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great when I get there. I'm gonna have a really good time. It's just getting myself to actually get there. But we're going, it's fine. My book will be waiting for me when I get back. And now, several hours later, we are back. I had a really good time, which I expected I was going to, and I just need to keep learning this lesson for myself. Just because you're feeling apprehensive about going out and interacting socially before you go and do it doesn't mean you're not going to enjoy it when you're there. But no, it was a really good time. It was nice to just like hang out, see our friends, interact with people I don't get to interact with all that much, meet our friends' foster kids. That was really nice too. And I got 2.5 liters of water in today, so I'm feeling very hydrated. For now though, I do need to have a little bit of dinner because although we did eat there, I'm now needing to eat something to have my evening medication. And we have an episode of Critical Role to watch because I want to make sure that by the time that Tuesday rolls around and the next episode is out, I'm up to date on the ones that have already been released. Well, after a much enjoyable time just chilling on the couch, watching Critical Role, finishing that episode, yes, it is now time to go to bed. But that means time for reading, which means I get to continue my book. But actually something I should probably do is write in my 5-year journal because it's been a while, like half a week or something. And if I leave it too long, I do have a tendency to forget what has been happening. So write in the journal, then reading time, then bedtime, which will essentially be me reading probably too late. And then finally when my eyes are like falling out of my head, going to sleep. So I'm gonna just say good night. Good morning, happy Sunday. I'm just like not feeling it today, which is interesting because I feel like for the rest of the week I've been doing quite well. I feel like I've been pretty productive, getting stuff done, feeling very accomplished, and now I'm just like, nope, I don't want to get out of bed. But I don't really want to finish the week like this, so I feel like I do need to get out of bed and do something. I think it's gotten to the point where it's a little too late to get out of bed to do exercise before our book club meeting. So I might get up and have a shower so then at least I feel refreshed for the book club meeting and put off walking until after meal prep later today. It's all good. As long as the streak is kept alive, as long as I get my walk in somewhere, it's all good. I've also been finding that this week so far, it's been a little hard to make sure that I'm still getting my 8,000 steps. I thought that this week I was going to be more back into the swing of that one, and that wasn't going to be quite as much of a challenge, but it doesn't seem to have turned out quite that way. But that's okay, because we're not aiming for perfection here, we're just aiming for better. And in terms of steps, this week was better than the week when we just got back from Korea, where it's like, oh look, okay, yeah, we're just gonna take it really, really chill in terms of the feet and the moving of them. Which, to be fair, they had blisters, so like, yeah. Makes sense. On the cards for today though, along with the book club meeting and eventually doing exercise, we also have the meal prep, which is really just going to be making more stewed fruits because it's nice to have those on hand, and also doing some other final kind of priority tasks for the week to make sure that I can enter the new week with those checked off, because I feel like having those accomplished would feel pretty good. I already kind of feel like I'm not going to be able to get through all of them with the amount of time I have left. but I suppose that's certainly the case if I don't get out of bed, so time to get out of bed. Alrighty, shower done. We have about 5 minutes until the book club meeting starts, and I need to get some water and maybe get my breakfast or something so I can have some food, because otherwise book club usually goes for an hour to an hour and a half, and if I don't have breakfast now, I'm gonna be like ravenous by the time that it's done.
Today we are discussing Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Theories.
If you haven't been to book club before, one of the issues that I take with books is one, spoilers, which is anything under the sun that isn't the title of the book and maybe the author's name, and two, being very susceptible to other people's opinions and letting it sway my judgment of the book. Another very enjoyable book club meeting, and it's always really good when not everybody likes the book. Not to say that there was anybody who came along who outright said I hated this book or anything, but there was a variety of opinions, variety of thoughts, which always makes for a really good discussion, which I always very much appreciate. If you wanted to join our book club, it is fully online, it's fully free to join. We would love to have you with us. You can scan the QR code on screen or hit the link in the description box. But the book that we're reading for February is Project Hail Mary, which I think is actually pretty good timing because a movie is coming out or has come out. I don't know, I don't keep up with the release dates for movies. But in terms of goal actions, I have also, wasn't actually on my actions list for this week, but technically it would have been eventually, but I have booked the car parking for our UK trip so we can take Claire to the airport, leave her there, and then pick her up on the way out. And today I want to at least get an idea of booking accommodation, because flights and accommodation are the ones that I'm once those are booked in, I feel a lot more at peace. Everything else, it's just a case of, okay, if I can't get a booking to go to this thing on this exact day, it'll be all right. But we do need to look at the accommodation stuff. And as part of that, I really want to go through with Vogel and figure out what our priorities are in terms of things to see, because it would be nice if things are kind of clustered together, or if they're in the same area roughly. If maybe I could make it so that we are staying near there, so then the transport isn't as big of an issue. I want somewhere that's kind of accessible with places that you could use to get around, like buses or trains or whatever. In order to not feel like a scatterbrained mess while I do this, I'm gonna check in with my task list. Checking in with my journal maybe turned into editing a video, but that one's uploading now, so yay. It's still progress. That one is releasing tomorrow, so it did need to be done. But it's a video essentially about how to get things done when you have really low energy, or the kind of strategies that I like to use when I'm low energy to still get things done. That one being for the team with a capital T. But I just need to get a thumbnail ready for that one, and then it can be fully ready for release. And then I think I'm gonna go and get some lunch because I'm getting quite peckish, and I know I also need to start on doing my meal prep soon. Otherwise, if I leave it too late in the day, it is very much at risk of not happening. And if I don't do it, then I can't have stewed fruits, and then I'll be sad. I don't want future Jess to be sad. I want future Jess to have stewed fruits. Now, as it is 2:17, it is time to go downstairs and have some lunch and make some stewed fruits, which is why I need my tripod so that you can see what I'm doing. I've thoroughly been enjoying this tripod though. It is way lighter and it has a much smaller footprint than my other one, which means that just transporting it around the house and such has been much easier. I know that some people take a tripod like this when they go traveling and such, which I guess I technically could do for our next trip, but I don't know how I'd feel about that. I might take it. Maybe. In terms of stewed fruits today though, I'm making both stone fruit stewed fruits and apple stewed fruits, or stewed apples. There was definitely a simpler way to say that. But I figured then I have some variety in the little fruit packs that I could be munching on, which is nice. I do enjoy having novelty and variety, which would maybe possibly come as a surprise to some people, given the fact that I eat the same thing for breakfast for multiple weeks in a row a lot of the time, and the same kind of for lunch, given this week and next week it was both going to be bruschetta. But I do like to have some options. It means that I'm less likely to get bored of the things that are actually good for me.
There is half an hour on the clock for those to roast, stew, whatever. So I'm gonna get my exercise done now, so then evening Jess doesn't have to do it, because she's not gonna feel like it. She barely feels like it right now, to be completely honest. Okay, so since we last spoke, I did not actually get on the walking pad. Still going to, but I just haven't gotten there just yet. Mainly because I remembered that I needed to prepare my yogurt bottles for the week. So those are good. Those are sitting in the fridge, all ready to go, ready for future Jess to consume. And then I made the foolish decision to check my email and had some snarky email from somebody's secretary saying that my request to confirm their email address when they had signed up for the free resource library was too vague. So if you have ever signed up for the free resource library and then been very confused by the response that you got asking you to confirm your email, I apologize. That was not my intention. It just seems an awfully odd thing to email somebody having a rant about. I don't know. I feel like I have better things to do with my time. Like getting on the walking pad. Vogel has also mentioned that he has missed walking with me, so we're thinking that next week we might resume trying to walk outside. I know that we started trying to do that when the weather was getting better, like in spring last year. And then it got too warm and we were like, oh, maybe we can do it in the late evening. But then in the late evening we didn't want to. So we're going to try walking outside again, which is always nice to have his company, so I'm hoping it should be good. Not gonna lie, that person's email put me in a mood, so I'm gonna get on the walking pad now. I just don't think I'm gonna do very much walking, but some is better than none, and that's what counts. Getting onto the walking pad, I had pretty much full intentions of doing like all of 5 minutes and then getting off, and then I thought a little more about it and came to 2 realizations. One, just because I'm not feeling it doesn't mean that I should like skimp on my goal work if I have the time and the energy to do it. So I did some more steps, actually got over 26 minutes, so feeling positive about that. And 2, if I let somebody's negative email that they definitely did not have to write me, like it's gonna change all of nothing except for my mood, it seems, but I shouldn't be letting that dictate whether or not I work on my goals. If anything, we should like, you know, be putting fuel on the fire and being like, stuff the haters. And the third thing is really a question I'm asking myself, which is, given that I do get some negative comments from time to time, it happens, you know, that's what happens when you put yourself out on the internet and whatever, but given that that happens with a frequency that's like, I get enough to warrant having like kind of patterns and routines around these kind of things, typically speaking, they don't really bother me. Typically speaking, I just like delete it and move on. So why did this one bother me? That is a question for a later time though, because my fruit has come out of the oven. It is smelling absolutely glorious, and I just need to wait for it to cool down so that I can package it up. Future Jess is gonna be so happy that she has fruit. In particular, fruit that she doesn't have to like cut up and prepare on the day she wants to eat it. She can just take a little pack out of the fridge and eat it. Yum! My fruit is all packaged up now and ready to be consumed, in the sense that I put it in the freezer, and when I want to consume it, I will defrost it and then I will consume it. But now it's like 6:43 and definitely time to start thinking about dinner. I wish that everything that I did today didn't take as long as it did. And I'm sure there's a way forward for that, but I did intentionally prep more fruit than I realistically need for just 1 week so that future Jess has fruit and also does not have to meal prep said fruit. We love doing future Jess favors. And we also love hydration. Where is my bottle?
There you are.
Vogel and I have elected to get food out today because he's hurt his back. I'm not gonna cook dinner and do the dishes. So yeah, sometimes just not feeling it. But I will take wins where I can. I'm gonna finish this bottle of water. I will be so hydrated while I eat my meal from not my kitchen. Well, I ended up getting McDonald's in the end, and Vogel got some Hell Pizza. And the body has instantly said, nope, that was a bad idea. My stomach hurts so much. So I'm thinking maybe tomorrow will be day 1 of my no McDonald's streak. Because, I am pained. But for now, we're gonna play some Until Dawn, have a chill time on the couch, and hopefully just, like, not be pained soon, because...
You fucked up.
Oh, you're not friendly.
He has no sympathy for me.
Was it worth it?
So rude. You know what? I hope next time you get pizza, it sucks.
I mean, my wedges were a little cold, because I was waiting for someone's Maccas.
For what it's worth, my fries were fresh.
Mine were not fresh. They probably were at some point.
Shame.
You suck. I know what you're doing.
Oh no, are you okay? Your drink made you feel unwell. Yeah, see, that's what karma's gonna do to you. Instant betrayal.
Why is it my karma? I had to wait in line for your food.
Yeah, but then when I said I had a tummy ache, you laughed at me.
Yeah, because that was the karma getting you
Well,
for my injustice.
Well, no, see, because I already had to put up with your bitching, so...
We ended up playing through until the final chapter of Until Dawn, so a little bit more left for us. But then Vogel did some chore kind of work. I worked in my journal to plan next week, so I have a little bit more of an idea of what's going to be going on. Haven't populated my actions list, and I know there are going to be some actions from this week that I'll be migrating over. I just need to look through them and consider which ones are going to be appropriate for next week. But that is a tomorrow me problem. Right now me problem is helping Vogel make the bed and then getting into bed and going to sleep. Maybe just like a little bit of reading, just a teeny tiny bit, because I'm really enjoying my book. But I do want to get a good night's sleep so that I'm well rested for week 6. How are we already on to week 6? Where's the time going? But given the fact that it's pretty much make the bed, maybe read, and then go to sleep, now for something completely different. Is have a look at my goal-related... Nope. My jumper's falling down. Okay, we're better, we're good. So I haven't made... So I haven't...
What happened?
I wonder what Vogel got me for Valentine's Day.
Very sneaky, right?
Just trying to get my work done. The earth is shaking. It does that sometimes. Oh, I drank too much water too quickly. What I'm kind of thinking might end up happening with these work blocks. No, that's not what it is. Let's go back again.
What happened?
I sipped a cold drink and it murdered me.
My name's Jim.
The plots.
Where are you?
lack of value or perceived.
It may not have been a perfect week, but it definitely was a productive week. When it came to weight, I started the week at 91.4 and ended at 91.2, so not a lot of a change, but still a change in a favourable direction for me. In terms of my priorities list, these are the ones that I managed to accomplish or make some progress on. There are some there that have been sitting on the list for a while, so I'm definitely hoping that next week I actually action them. I might make them like priority deluxe, like a mega priority, a priority on the priorities list. But I'm still pretty pleased with the amount that was accomplished. Of course, some of these tasks are ones that happen every single week, like meal planning and meal prep, so getting them done this week doesn't necessarily impact next week outside of having meals to eat, but there are other ones that are very stepwise, so I needed to have completed that action before I can take further action in subsequent weeks. I do think it's worth mentioning though, there were some other things that got done towards my goals and projects that weren't specifically on my lists for this week, so honourable mention for those. In terms of routines, this is what the tracker was looking like at the end of the week, so I definitely think that there is some room for improvement, but I did at least track my food for the entire week, even if I didn't necessarily get 100% completion on anything else. Keeping track is a very big part of this challenge, making sure that you can really concretely see the progress that you're making. For me right now, that's a habit tracker in my journal, but if you wanted some other ways that you can keep track of the progress towards whatever goals you're working on, then this video is the next one to check out. In that one, we talk about not only the importance of keeping track, but some different considerations you might want to make in setting up your own trackers. So click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.